Today we're going to perform a basic field strip disassembly, cleaning, and reassembly of this RUGER 2245. This is the Mark III version. What I'm going to use today are some brushes. I have a mallet that I don't think I'm going to need. I have some microfiber cleaning cloths, some paper towels on deck, some patches, and today I'm going to use this CLP. First thing we're going to do when handling any weapon is ensure that the weapon is safe. So while pointing the gun in a safe direction, I'm going to ensure that the weapon is clear by removing the source of the ammunition. After that, I'm going to bring my bolt back, do a physical and a visual inspection to ensure that the chamber is clear. Now I'm going to reinsert my magazine and I'm going to dry fire. Now I'm going to remove the magazine again and remove the threaded barrel protector. There's a washer on here as well, so you want to make sure you remove that as well. Now I'm going to remove the mainspring housing. Now you can use your finger or your nail. Ladies, I don't recommend using your nails, but you can do so. RUGER actually recommends that you use a paper clip. If you have a gunsmithing tool or a gun buddy, you can use something of the sort. I don't have either today, so I will just be using this little screwdriver to lift up the mainspring housing latch. Now that I've lifted up the mainspring housing latch, as you can see, it's not coming straight out. Now I've already dry fired this pistol, but what I've learned with this particular gun is that pulling the trigger helps you a lot. So I'm just going to put my thumb in here and I'm going to press the trigger down and I'm going to wiggle it a little bit. And that should allow the mainspring housing to lift up. Now, for some guns, it is tight, so it's hard to remove the bolt stop pin. So some people will use something like a punch or a nylon tube with a hammer to push it out. For this video, I don't think I need to. I'm just going to pull the mainspring housing downward and out. Now that I've been able to move that out, the next thing is to remove your bolt. So I'm going to remove my bolt. Now it's coming out very easily here, but sometimes it doesn't. So if it doesn't, I'd recommend pushing the trigger to move some of that stuff in there to loosen up the bolt. Now that I have the mainspring housing and the bolt out, I'm going to separate the barrel from the frame. Now RUGER and other people do, they actually use a rubber mallet and they'll take the mallet and the gun and then they'll tap lightly on this side so that it can come off of the frame. But what I'm going to do is grip the gun like so. I'm going to put my thumb right here and I'm going to grab the barrel and I'm actually just going to try and push the barrel off of the frame. And you should hear a click when it does so. Like that. Now we have completed our basic field strip of this RUGER 2245. The next thing that I'm going to start with cleaning is my actual barrel. And I don't know if you can see, but it's pretty dirty in here. I'm always going to focus on my barrel first. I am going to use this CLP for this go around. However, my little tool that goes on here will not go back in. So I'm just going to spray some around in here so it can work its way down the barrel. Now I'm going to take a jag and attach a patch to it so that I can run it through. And before I go any further, let me do what I should have done first, and that's put some gloves on. Voila. I'm gonna grab a little patch, put it on the tip of my tool right here, pass it through the loop. Then I'm gonna take this and I'm going to pass it through. Take this bristle, and I'm going to pass it through this portion into the actual barrel. I'm going to allow it to follow the rifling by allowing the rod to rotate on its own. And I'm just going to pass it through one more time to break up any fouling that's in there. Now that that is in there, I can take a little bit more of my CLP and let it go down into the barrel. Now while that is going on, I'm going to next focus on cleaning the rest of this barrel here. So I will grab a small brush and just begin to wipe around inside here. Spray a little CLP on my brush. This is why it's good to have a working mat or a clean space that you can get liquids and fluids on. Make sure that I'm getting all of these different little parts here. Now I normally use Hoppy's number 9. This will be my first video using COP, but I'm just using it because for one, a lot of people love it, and for two, it's CLP, which means it cleans, it lubricates, and it preserves. So that's like all in one, and not having to worry too much about lubricating down the line. And I do like to use these brushes with the dual heads sometimes over the toothbrush, just because it has that small head attachment here that allows you to get into smaller places. I normally use Q-tips, but I'll just use one of these little gun tips, and I'm just gonna try and get into these little crevices that I can't really reach that well where the loaded chamber indicator is. This is your loaded chamber indicator right here. So, and as you can see, when your gun is loaded, that loaded chamber indicator will come out. I'm just gonna actually push it out a little bit and clean it. And I'm using my tip to just get into all these little crevices. Now I still have the barrel soaking. I'm going to let it continue to soak before I clear it out. Now I'm going to take my bolt, and as you can see, it's a bit dirty, and yes, you can take this down further, but I don't really need to. So I'm actually just going to take a patch, spray some COP on there, and wipe it down. Now I'll grab my brush and get in there a little bit. And this part, in the front part, this is very important to make sure that this area is cleaned. This is where there's a lot of carbon fiber buildup. Now I'm just wiping it down. I'll take a clean patch and just do another once over. I want to make sure there's not a lot of oil in here. Ruger does not recommend you putting a lot of oil onto your bolt. It really just recommends a light film of lubrication on it. Now I'll take my mainspring housing and I'll just touch it. Another patch and just make sure it's fully dried off. You don't want any oil leaking on your parts of your weapon. And that's our mainspring housing. Let's look at our frame. This frame collected a lot of buildup in here. So I'm just gonna take my COP and I'm gonna spray that in there, and I'll just get to brushing in here. There's a lot of dust and buildup here where the bolt stop is, so make sure I get in there as well. Here's where that trusty small side comes into play. Allows me to get up in there and clean those components. And I definitely want to get into a magazine well. And because of the way this magazine goes in, you have this little lip in there, so this small side comes in handy. Next, I really want to make sure that I get in here and dry all this out, as it's already going to leave some lubrication in there. I still see some dirt in my mag well. Try to catch it from this angle. Get up behind this trigger. Oh, and it was dirty. Let's do that again. You don't have to get so much into it. It's just that this gun hasn't been fired for a very long time. And I'm really just going in and touching any little places that I couldn't really reach. And for your threaded barrel protector, you can clean that as well. And I don't really feel like I need to wash this washer, but I'm going to touch it with some COP anyway. As you can see, this is why I wear gloves, ladies. Voila. All right, let's get back to our barrel. It's been soaking for a little while. And I'm just gonna get into these little crevices here. And I'll grab a patch and get in here and dry this area out. And I'm just really just getting under here, just pulling anything extra that might be in there still. So now I'm going to remove my bore brush and I'm going to pass this mop through here. Once again, I'm going to pass it from the breech to the muzzle. And as you can see, I was able to get that out. Looks pretty clean in there. I don't know if you can see it, but I can. Put it through one more time because we don't want oil sitting in our barrel. And I'm just looking to see if there's any carbon in there, and I don't see any. Grab this paper towel. Wipe some of that down. Now we are ready to reassemble this Ruger 2245. Now, if you were going to lubricate it and you were using Hoppy's number 9 or another lubricant, I would recommend using a needler so that you could have more accurate precision on where you're going to put your lube. Since I'm using CLP, I don't feel the need to do so. But if I was going to lube with my needler, I would put a small amount, 1 drop right there. And then I put a drop right here where the high frequency or high metal touch points are. And then on your barrel, you only need a light coat on there as well. So in order to reassemble this gun, what I'm going to do is take my washer, place that back on here, grab my threaded barrel protector, screw that on. And this is a gun that's really been a favorite for many who shoot, who are suppressor enthusiasts. And if you do shoot suppress, you will know that your firearm will get dirty much more quickly and much more often. So you need to clean it often. So right now I am just looking over the gun and making sure there's nothing excess in here. Now you could take a jag with a patch and do the same thing. I just don't see that much for me to necessarily do that. I'm going to take my frame and my barrel. Remember this part, it lines up with this piece right here. And you're not going to hear the click that you get when you take it apart. Now I'm going to take my frame and I'm going to push it forward towards the muzzle of the gun while pushing the barrel backward. Okay? Like so. And once again, there are people that will go ahead and use a mallet, but I don't need to with this particular weapon, thankfully. Now I'm going to take my bolt and I'm going to have this part on the top and I'm going to insert it. Next, I'm going to take my mainspring housing assembly and I'm going to insert it back and put the bolt stop pin and get up. Now, I didn't go in initially. I just want to make sure that my hammer is down, which it is. And that little pin is down, which it is. And then I'm going to wiggle it up in there. Now, if you just try to bring it down, it's gonna, the bolt stop pin is gonna go back into the barrel. So I'm gonna push it back up and then I'm going to put my thumb here and I'm gonna pull that trigger, because what that's gonna allow is for this mainspring housing to go back into the gun. And of course, I do believe in cleaning all parts of your gun. If you do want a more detailed video on how to clean your magazines or how to take apart the bolt to get to the extractor and whatnot, let me know. I'll be more than happy to create one of those videos for you. But for this video, I'm just gonna do a light touch over here. Now, I'm gonna reinsert my magazine into the gun, grab my microfiber, just to wipe that down a little bit. And now we have completely disassembled, cleaned, and reassembled our Ruger 2245. If you like this video, please click like, click subscribe. If there's something differently that you do when you're using and cleaning this weapon, please do share in the comments below. I definitely love to hear the different ways that people are able to field strip and reassemble this gun, as well as what cleaning products do you like to use, and how often do you shoot your gun, and most importantly, how important do you clean it? Once again, thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.